Hey, welcome
Hey,
back to the show. This is Refined BS Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin Weaver. We've got an awesome episode today. We're going to tie back to the scriptures. I've got a word that I'm going to use throughout. We're going to talk about that in our lives. We're going to talk about when we're in a difficult season of our lives and what we can do to help get us through that season. And then we're going to talk about some experiences that I had over the last 2 weeks. I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks. I haven't been able to post anything, and my goal is to share with you, little tidbits of my life and as I'm running my business, what I'm trying to do to grow my business family, as well as the things that I'm doing to prepare my team for the next step in our growth story. So let's get started. The thing we want to talk about today is Babylon. When you're in a season of Babylon, and I'll go in to talk about what it means to me, but Babylon is used over 280 times in the Bible. It's used from Genesis all the way to Revelation, and it for the most part describes a difficult place. More or less, it describes something where there's a lot going right, but it's not going right the right way, right? Or there's a lot of power being purveyed from the people. However, they're not following God's laws, and ultimately, God always wins. So, in our lives, taking that back to our lives, when you're in a season of Babylon, what does that mean, right? In my mind, you're doing things right. You're focused on your journey, right? You have put your health as a priority. You put your family as a priority. You put your business as a priority. You put your mind as a priority, right? To keep a clean mind, to keep a clean space, right? You have done these things and you are preparing yourself for the next level. And that may be up for some of you. You're up for a promotion at work, right? You've been studying hard. You've been going into the office early. You've been staying late. You've been putting in the extra effort constantly. But you're in this season of Babylon because you didn't get the promotion. You're not getting the recognition, right? And maybe you're not making the progress that you should be making, right? You look in this swim lane and you look in that swim lane and they are passing you by. And you can't figure out why that is. And I think the story of Babylon explains why that is. Because we all get put in places and we all go through these tests that God puts on us so that He can see if He can trust us with the next level of our lives, right? So at the next level for you is getting that promotion, then He's going to put you through a test that's going to test you in such a way that you will be ready for that promotion. Because if He gives you the promotion too early, it won't work out. And that's a great thing about God's love for us, is that He's not going to put us in a position that's not going to ultimately work out for His purpose in your most prosperous situation. So as I think about Babylon and the different characters in the Bible that went through those different seasons of Babylon and the rise and fall of different kings throughout our history, and it talks about several different ones like Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible. But I really think about the Jews when they were in exile, right? They had been in slavery for 400 years, and they are finally out of slavery. They go into Babylon, right? And when they get there, it doesn't take long. And for some reason, they are already worshiping false gods. They're complaining there's no food. They said slavery was better than what we've got today. Their faith just completely disintegrates because of the sacrifice it's taking of where they're at today. They had to go through a new season of dryness before they would get to the ultimate harvest. And I think about that in my own life. How many seasons of dryness have you gone through in your life, whether it's in your business, your family, it's in your health, where you just simply are not making progress? you're doing the right things. And I'm not talking about perfection because none of us are perfect. But you're doing the right things, but it seems like nothing is working out. It seems like you keep missing the big break just by an inch, just by 2 inches. You're just barely missing this super great opportunity that's right around the corner. And for some reason, now your focus is so narrowly on you that when your friend or your family does have a big opportunity that comes across and they are able to take advantage of it, instead of feeling happy, you don't feel that way, right? It's not that you're not happy. It's just you're wondering when your time is. And that's what God tells us. God tells us that our time is coming, that all things work for our good. And I think that there is a saying out there that the beginning, the middle, and the end, okay? The beginning is always fun. It's exciting because you're starting something new. In the end, wow, I can see the finish line. I'm so close to my end goal. I've accomplished something great, and now I can be proud because I accomplished something great. But the middle is where so many people give up, because it is the middle, and let's call the middle Babylon. The middle is where you're in the trenches, right? It is where you are fighting to continue to live your very best, to continue to live in God's purpose, to continue to do the right things, come in early, spend time with your children, work on your career, work on your health, right? Work on your relationship with your wife or your spouse, because all of those take lots of effort and time if you really want to be the best, right? And not the best compared to everybody else, to be your best. And you know when you're at your best. Well, let me back up. You know when you're at your best for the level you're at right now, because I promise you, your best today, if you keep working hard, you keep grinding, you keep being faithful to God's purpose, your best today will be so low for you in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You'll look back and wonder, wow, how did I ever think that that's all that I could accomplish? Why was my thinking so limited? And it gets so limited because we sit in this state of Babylon for so long. And sometimes it is the things that God has put on us, and He wants us to be there so that we can learn and thrive and grow. And other times, and they talk about when the people were in the desert, where they just set up shop in the desert and they stayed there and they never went back to the promised land because they saw a big obstacle in the way, and they never thought that they would be the one to overcome that obstacle. You can overcome your obstacles. Let's repeat this. You can overcome your obstacles. There are wonderful things out there for us to be doing by helping each other. That's when we started this podcast. We started this podcast because I want to read scripture. I want to share messages with the audience. I want to use the experience that I have and the conversations that I'm having with a great group of individuals. Bring them onto the show and share those experiences with everybody who's watching, because I want you to know you can accomplish anything in the world that you want to accomplish. Now, we got to be realistic, right? If you're not willing to put in the time, the effort, the dedication that it takes to get there, you won't accomplish it. It's simple as that. If your God's purpose is X, God is going to give you the tools to meet X. But you're going to have to learn how to use those tools properly if you're ever going to get to X. And I like a quote from Inky Johnson. If you have not watched any of Inky Johnson's stuff, he's a motivational speaker. He was a football player at the University of Tennessee who suffered a gruesome injury that actually almost took his life, and it did take the full use of one of his arms. He was a top 15 draft pick. He was going into the NFL the next year. Not only that, but he came from a very, very poor family where he had 8 or 9 brothers and sisters. He only got to sleep in a bed once a week. He was fighting for life. He was fighting from 6 or 7 years old. He is doing sprints in the street because he wants to be the fastest and the best, and he's got a plan, and he's going to execute his plan. God put something in his life. Inky, you can do this. And he followed that path as far as the football career could take him. The football career was taken away, but something else wonderful was given to him. He's a motivational speaker. He speaks to millions of people every year, and he's making a major impact. And one of the things that he focuses on is that when we focus on our purpose and progress, right? Getting better every day, and the purpose in which we're doing it, the reason we're doing it in the first place, and we forget about the outcome. He asks this question: would you still work with the passion that you have today if you didn't ever get the results or outcome that you want? And the answer has got to be yes. That no matter what, you are going to continue fighting for your goals. You're going to continue fighting for your purpose, right? You're going to continue fighting for your purpose. There's another speaker out there that mentioned something recently, and it really goes along with what we're talking about today, this Babylon situation. And that part of it is, it's Eric Thomas, and if you don't listen to any of his stuff, you need to find it, okay? Dr. Eric Thomas, he's the ET hip-hop preacher. So Eric Thomas is a radical dude, right? He's got a crazy story. He is one of the first or second or maybe third top motivational speaker in the entire world. And he is so focused on ensuring that people get across the finish line. And he talks about the sacrifice that it takes to get there. And he has a small podcast that came out, and this was probably like 7 years ago, and it really put him on the scene of motivational speakers. And it talks about when you want success, right? Because we all want to have success, whether that's in our health, our finances, our family. Really, we want it all, because if you just have one, you're going to be lacking somewhere, right? But when you want success more than you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And it doesn't mean, poof, you're going to be successful that day. What it means is that you're going to turn into the type of person that can go get the success and achieve the things that you want to achieve. That's what it means. So those are two great speakers. So when you're thinking about a difficult situation that you're in, or you're going through a difficult time, right? Focus on your purpose. Simon Sinek, he's a great author out there, and I probably butchered the last name, but he's a great author out there. He's on motivational speaking and leadership, and he talks about focus on your why, because if you can find your why for something, then anything is possible. So that's why I challenge everyone that's watching. Find your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you at that job, pursuing that career, right? Is it just money? Because you could probably pursue several different careers just for money. Why are you focused on raising wonderful children, right? Why? Why do you want to have a healthy relationship with your spouse, with your wife? Why do you want to have a strong body? Why do you want to be healthy? Focus on your why, and that will overcome anything that gets in the way. As you focus on your why, you're going to build consistency in those habits, and those habits are going to take you to the next level. So I said I was going to talk a little bit about myself. I've traveled the last 2 weeks. I've gone to Utah, Houston. I've been in a couple different parts of Texas, and I'm out there in the world trying to build my business and meet with our leadership team so that we can figure out what are the things that we need to do to grow to the next level, right? And that is what it takes. It takes the sacrifice to go have the conversations, go shake the hands. There is something out there right now where there's so much information. And I was just talking to someone about this just 3 hours ago. There's so much information. And there's so many people out there that want to make the right decision, but because they have all this information at their fingertips, they have information euphoria. They're looking at this career and they're watching this guru and they're watching this guru, make money here and you can do this and you can make money, do this and you'll be happy, you'll be successful. You line them all out. There are thousands of them. But because there's so much information out there, what I'm seeing is that a lot of young people, and it's not only young people, but they don't take any steps at all. They don't want to make the wrong step. It's not that they're lazy or they lack the motivation. They are just getting inundated with so much information, and we all are getting inundated with information that they don't want to misstep. They don't understand. And it took me a long time to figure out that the best thing you can do is just take a step. It doesn't matter if you're going in the right direction. As long as you're praying every day and you have put in some time into your life and thought about what you wanted to accomplish, right? Take a step. Go try that new career. Go have lunch with that friend. Go to that networking event. Go do the things that you're just a little bit afraid to do. Take action, take the step, because that's how you go. That's how God takes us from being in a Babylon season, takes us to the next level of our entire lives. So this is the Refine BS podcast. I hope everyone had a great time. Recently, I went and visited the Drinking Bros podcast. It's a different topics that they talk about. However, they have an awesome studio. It's something that I aspire to have set up over the next month, year or so as we try to grow our viewership. I am going to have guests on the show, I promise. I've had a couple of comments that asked me about that, and the goal is to have that set up. Once I can get the studio set up, I've got to get another camera. I've already got the mic ready to go. Our lights are a little funky, as you can tell. It's a little bit different each time. Anyway, keep grinding. Keep praying. This is the Refine BS podcast. I know that you're going to live your best life. Thanks. Have a great day.